All right. Well, good morning, everyone, and hello. Welcome to the Fit Beaute Report Podcast. I'm your host, Christina. So, in today's episode, we have a very special guest in the studio today, and I want to welcome Tarlon Khoubyari
Yeah.
from Infinity Education. So, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
So, Tarlon, I am very excited to learn about this new Web3 education that you guys have started. And first of all, how did you even get in where you are now? Like, how did this all come about? And how did you get started as being a woman in the tech space? Because it's so uncommon. We are just, breaking down barriers, and people are just now really taking women in actual tech. Like, we can be here, we're going to be here, and we're building here. So how did you find yourself in tech?
Yeah, totally. I was really lucky in high school. I took a bunch of programming classes when I was like around 15. I went to four different high schools in 4 years, which was kind of crazy, but I really saw the difference between each city that I was in, every state that I was in, every school that I was in, how education, where you kind of lived varied. And so growing up, I really immediately saw that, and also being a part of these women in tech programs, I didn't really see a lot of people that looked like me. I'm a very extroverted, outgoing, creative person, and at the time, I thought tech was like this one singular thing, like this. You're sitting behind a computer programming 8 hours a day, when in reality, it is like an entire ecosystem that fosters creativity, that there is spaces for people who are like me in there. And going to college, in North Carolina, I met my co-founder, Naomi Thomas, who is our founder and CEO of InfinityEdu. And we met volunteering at a Women in Tech programming camp. From there, our like connection to the women in tech ecosystem was there. And we just always had a strong passion to promote women in tech. And we were growing our personal social media brands online. This was at a time of the internet where Viners were moving to YouTube, bloggers were moving to Instagram. So it was a very interesting time of social media. And we really saw this as an opportunity for us to grow our personal brands. And then Naomi actually had a web development company in college that we turned into a digital marketing agency, and we're able to support clients in the social political space over the past 4 years, which has been great. But throughout all of this, Naomi and I have all volunteered and given our efforts towards women in tech organizations. She was the president of the Computer Science Club. I was her VP. And yeah, we just wanted to, last year we came together and really spent the first like 6 to 8 months researching the ed tech space, talking to over 2,000 educators, students, and like curriculum developers to see really like what it is that they would want and what they would need. And the journey kind of just went from there. I'm happy to talk more about what we're building and what we're doing, but ultimately, Infinity EDU is just like the byproduct of something that I didn't really have growing up. I didn't really see the connection between the roles and the brands that I used and loved. I didn't know that I could be like a chemist at Sephora, or I can be a data scientist at the WNBA or something like that. Like those jobs exist out there. And with Web3 and this new decentralization effort going, education should be a part of that conversation, and really should be a part of the Web3 evolution, which it is. And it's really exciting to be a woman in this space. And everyone's sort of an early adopter right now. It's really awesome to see sort of the trends and the shifts of even everything from NFTs to the metaverse and everything in between.
Wow, this is really great to see how, it really does start with joining organizations for girls, for young girls and for young women in technology. And it goes to show you how, if you are a part of those organizations, like, it really does put an imprint on you. And it really does encourage you to pursue those avenues that you found when you were, vice president at your school and everything. So that's really neat. So tell me, from there, what have been some of the biggest struggles as a woman in tech? Just learning the ropes, and also in developing your own company or becoming part of a company.
Totally. So, as someone who's in ed tech, I definitely am not the traditional student. It's kind of funny because I always tell people I'm the worst student, but I'm building the future of education. But I just think that is like the perfect case study for the perfect example of that. Like, you don't have to fit into like one field or one bubble. I feel like sometimes people will try to like limit you and say you have to like learn these programming languages to do this thing. And tech is so much more than that. You don't even have to be technical to be in tech. I see this on TikTok all the time. There's product marketing managers who may or may not have a technical background developing the entire messaging and strategy of how products get marketed into the ecosystem. And so some of the things definitely as a founder is sometimes how isolated you feel building, because in the early stages, and I'm very transparent about founder burnout on all my socials. So I'm happy to talk about it a little bit more, but basically you're in the weeds of it. You're kind of alone. Thankfully, I'm so lucky to have a co-founder who I've known for such a long time. We are in the weeds together, and so the power of community is really important. You really need to find your people that understand you, that support that like make it feel like anything is possible when you're kind of in the weeds of it and you just don't see that yourself. And then also just I think just the access to quality tech education is we have a lot of tools out there, but traditional tech ecosystems aren't really made with diverse learners in mind. Hence why we're building that and why we really want diversity, inclusion, and sort of empathy is really at the core of who we are as a company. So I definitely think that the lack of the interactive, immersive tech ecosystems that or can be stifling. Also, just like I mentioned, kind of being a founder and experiencing some of that burnout, and also just some of the general bias, like especially women raising capital, you're kind of in ecosystems in your spaces.
Yes. Oh, yes. We definitely need to talk about that. Touching on, yeah, raising capital. As you know,
Yeah,
women do not get much, and
yeah.
it's crazy how these men will And I was in a Twitter space last week, and I joined. I think it was Badass Women or don't yeah, that don't quote me on that, so I'm already here live saying it. But I was in a Twitter space, and it was for a women-led project on Twitter, and she actually stated how um, men will go in and they'll say, "I need this much. We're going to build this, and if you're with me, then you're going to be a part of something great. If you're not,
Right.
then you're just going to miss out." And that people just jump on it. But she said, if a woman walks in and she says that they just look at her and they question how, and they question everything.
Yeah, they want to look at they want to look at who your team is. There's a lot more like I think due diligence that it gets involved, and that's the biggest raising hack is that you want to create FOMO and also create a sense of urgency for people that if you guys are the best people to build this product, and if this doesn't get built right now, then like the market that you're currently in, like people are missing out. And I just think that's a principle both men and women should definitely follow when raising. But yes, like you walk into spaces and you as women generally, like especially we're passionate, we like I just become alive talking about this stuff. Like I can talk about decentralized education, the future of tech, like women in tech all day long. Like I do feel like sometimes my friends think I'm obnoxious, but when you're so passionate, sometimes people view that as being like naive or like you're like that's so cute, like you're working on this thing, and it's like no, like actually, like I'm here to take up space, and only 2% of women got venture capital last year. I posted this on LinkedIn and Twitter, and it was 2.3% actually in 2019. So we kind of went down a little bit, which is crazy to think about.
And if
And
we really really dissect that, women of color were at
yes,
like 1%. So
exactly.
that's even
Yeah,
worse. And so
yeah,
it's not really, we haven't changed. And it goes to show you why, what can we like we have to voice our opinion. I'm so glad you're
yeah.
here taking up space, because if
Oh,
you
thank you.
don't, other women shy away from it. Other women don't really want to talk about it when we need to talk about it in order to create the awareness that this is not okay. This needs to change. Why is the funding only going towards men? So
Totally. And thank you for holding space, because I was gonna say that like it's not even just like us having a, because everyone has a platform nowadays with social media, but it's people like you are setting the pace. I always want to encourage women who, if you have raised, celebrating the wins of my friends recently, or like you raised in this past year, like be proud of that. I feel like also as women, like we don't take a second to achieve, take a second to really be thankful, or pause and celebrate the small wins. Like we're always like the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. I experience this on a daily basis where you're like literally putting out product, you're raising hundreds of thousands of dollars up to millions of dollars. Like celebrate those wins, because these moments go by so fast, and we're gonna look back and be like, remember when we were in our series whatever, like our seed round, or remember when you were dealing with this hiring issue or whatever. And that's what I'm currently at Launch House, by the way. I'm in the Launch House first female founder cohort. That's what I love so much about this community, is literally the fact that you are so not alone in all your struggles, and being so seen as a female founder amongst other female founders is literally the most empowering feeling ever. And it's Women's History Month, and I'm feeling all this strong feminine energy. No one can tell me anything right now. Can't tell me nothing by Kanye West is on my playlist. But no, for real, I just really appreciate that female allyship, and I'm so yes, women the women narrative is portrayed to be as competitive, but you would have people who actually talk to women realize that we are so uplifting and so supportive. Granted, you have those little nuances where people can be terrible, but I have genuinely found so much peace and solace in spaces and ecosystems like this, and conversations like this, where I'm talking to someone who I don't even have to explicitly say the struggles. You 100% understand, and you understand even just the struggles and the highs and the lows that come with it.
Yeah, definitely. So tell us a little bit about Launch House. So what is this cohort? What is this Launch House? How can we get involved? And
Yes.
what is the purpose of it? And why should women join? And how is this, helping women to launch?
Totally. So it's funny because I found out about Launch House on TikTok, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is the coolest thing!" I just swiped past it. I was like, "Oh, never would never see myself in this space, whatever." And then my co-founder Naomi was like, "Hey, I think we should really do this thing. It would be a great opportunity." We had one of our investor friends and connections, just kind of who knew the Launch House ecosystem, and he was telling all these great things about it. So we're like, "Great." So we came in, didn't really know what to expect or what to think. Everyone was like, "Is this a reality show?" And I'm like, "No, literally not that. It is I'm actually in a pod right now. It's a true co-working ecosystem. It's a founder community. They kind of pitch it as a decentralized university for startups, and that's literally what it is. What I love so much about this community is how open source the members are. So you're part of a membership. You have a 4-week residency at any of the cohorts. We are the first female founder cohort, which is amazing. And I feel like everyone tells me on Twitter, they're like, "Oh, I've seen you on Twitter," and I've seen your cohort on Twitter. So it's nice that we're kind of making some female founder buzz out on that ecosystem. But they literally they have programming throughout the week. They have amazing speakers that come on, and the Discord is super super active. I think what Launch House really does well is not only fostering that community, but giving really solid places to learn. I've learned more in the past 3 weeks than I have in my most of my adult life, and Launch House is really pivotal for me and our company and stuff. You just have access to so many different things, and also it being the first female founder cohort, you feel obviously a lot more comfortable just being in this space. You're consistently challenged. I'm so inspired by the women that are here. They're so creative, so strong. Everything from creator economy marketplaces to independent wineries. There's such a spectrum. You don't have to and you can have anything from an idea to have raised millions of dollars. So definitely don't feel intimidated applying. If you do apply, let me know, because I can definitely refer you guys in. But yeah, it's an awesome ecosystem if you're a founder at any stage to just be a part of, if you're looking for community. Some of the girls, I booked a one-way ticket to LA. We'll see what happens. A lot of the girls have done the same. And so they really do foster this new future of work that is happening, and that you don't have to build a company in just in one place. You can really build it decentralized. Me and Naomi were both bi-coastal. This is the longest we've kind of been living together, or literally in the same house. And so that's been really cool to just be able to build simultaneously and just to be in this gorgeous, house with all these people. I'm actually sad that it's ending very soon. But I know that these connections and the learnings are going to carry me throughout our rounds and throughout our career.
Yes, amazing. And so that's great. What is Infinity Education? What are you guys building?
Totally. Yeah. So we're building the future of tech education and Web3. So think of us like the masterclass for brands. Our intention is to create like company tech stacks into immersive learning experiences because we want kids to see like what to have a proper exposure to tech and understand that tech isn't one size fits all. It does not have to fit your these traditional tech roles that most people think that tech is. When we talk to high school students, we're like, what do you think a software engineer does? They're like, sits behind a computer 8 hours a day and like never leaves their house. And it's like there's so much more than that. And we want kids to have access to brands. So we partner with brands to create these really immersive AR, XR, VR learning experiences. We're currently in the early stages of it. We've launched our MVP, which is a career matching tool that basically connects students' interests to brands that they could potentially work for. We have almost 1,000 users on that, which is amazing. And yeah, I feel really lucky to be building in this like decentralized ecosystem. We're learning so much. And where Web3 comes into place is that we have our Infinity token where students will be able to earn those and be able to cash those prizes for their favorite brands. And we're currently working on an educator DAO, which for people who are new or don't know about what a DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization. Basically, it gives everyone like a same level of tokens or a token to be able to vote on. And the educator DAO is to really validate and make sure that students are actually learning because like we are a learning platform. We're not a content platform, we're an experience company, but that is really centered around learning and retention because we know that incentivized learning is also a really great way to keep high retention rates, especially if they're cashing in those prizes for like subscriptions to their favorite brands, or let's say like a lunch and learn from a CEO and things like that. So it's really cool. There's a lot of in the works, but yeah.
This is awesome. And so right now, can someone join? Can they use Infinity EDU?
Yeah, so for the first thing is like you guys can use the career finder. So it's on our website. If you visit infinityedu.io, you can visit our career finder, and I'm so curious to see what people are matched with. We also just launched a tech tournament happening this fall. So we partnered up with the National Girls Collaborative Project last year for CS Ed Week and this year for their 20th anniversary. And this fall, we're looking to engage 20,000 girls, 20 brands, and have 20 tech challenges for students to learn and earn prizes towards those favorite brands. And so it's a bracket style tournament. We're really, really excited. We actually kicked off registration yesterday. Speaking of celebrating the small wins, did not celebrate that a little bit. So like just putting that out there. I would love, this is geared towards high school students or female identifying students. We are looking to be really inclusive. So if you are in high school, shameless plug, if you are in high school and looking to, want to participate in these really awesome tech challenges, we're having like headline sponsors. There are brand sponsorship opportunities available. So if you're a brand who has a Gen Z consumer audience and wants to partner with us, definitely reach out. But yeah, so the first like iteration of the product definitely is a career finder, and then we're looking to launch future iterations throughout this year and next year.
So is this all online? So
Yeah.
high school girls can just go online, and are these challenges done online? They register online and then they just show up online?
They show up online. We have activations coming soon. We're going to launch a Discord server. We're going to have mentors like student success homies that basically help you out throughout the challenges. It is completely free for students, educators as well. Like anyone can really join as long as they're female identifying. And yeah, it's virtual. It's free for students. And yeah, we're really, really excited about it. Help us get to our 20,000 girl impact. And yeah, maybe we'll do a fun giveaway or something.
Okay. And so the Infinity EDU, it is on Web3. So it is all on the blockchain. Is that correct?
So we have a token that is like part of that Web3 ecosystem, so that it really incentivizes it. But yes, in future iterations and future like as the product evolves, we definitely want to embed more of the Web3 concepts. But for now, we really focus on developing our educator DAO. We minted our token not too long ago, and as the product gets fully built out, and as the you know, platform gets built out, we're going to be embedding more of that. But we are fully like decentralized in the sense of like I mean, obviously we have experiences in the metaverse and things like that, and just meeting people online. But yeah, that's kind of where our Web3 angle is right now.
And you guys have your token minted where at on your platform, or is it on OpenSea, or where can we find it?
It's a Polygon token, so I have to like double check on exactly where it exactly is minted, but yes, we just recently minted it. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. And so once they sign up for these classes, do they receive that token, or do they have to earn the token?
So you have to earn it. And we're currently building out the features right now. Like I mentioned, we're still in that career finder ecosystem, but as the platform kind of rolls out, we do want to create more opportunity. Like that learn and earn model is really like important. So yes, so as students go throughout the like curriculums, they'll be able to earn some of those prizes, cash in those prizes for a brand, for like swag options and things like that. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. And so this is going to happen. They'll be able to learn and earn when you guys roll this out, and you are going to allow girls to take on these challenges. And is this going to be all in the coming months, or when can we expect this?
Yeah, so the tournament is happening actually this fall. So it's from like September to December. So students can sign up now for the tech tournament, which is we're thinking of really fun activations to think of like metaverse or other programming to really create that immersive experience. But for the platform, we're hoping to launch like early 2023.
Great. And the
Yeah.
experiences in the metaverse, what can we expect from the experiences in the metaverse? And when we speak metaverse, what exactly will these students be experiencing?
Totally. So I feel like the way that people are meeting, and honestly, like I've met most of my closest friends in the past like 5 years online. Like there are some people that I've met on Twitter that I'm like I see in real life, and I'm like, oh hey, what's up? And obviously that's like not very metaversey, but it's very like the whole idea of building digital community is something that like we're really like leaning into. We've seen the power of it at being a part of Launch House, like obviously. So in terms of the metaverse, using like platforms like Gather, Discord to our advantage, and creating different entry points for people to engage with us online is really critical for us. And so we want to create activations, maybe have some guest speakers, and so students don't necessarily have to be in a physical location, because we're currently seeing registration anywhere from like New Jersey to California to like we have it's all throughout the U.S. And so we really want students to still feel like they're building with something with their teams. And yeah, so that's kind of what we're expecting. It's just a different online entry points, maybe Decentraland or Gather, but just making it really fun and engaging for students so that they're not feeling alone throughout these tech challenges. And as they go throughout, we definitely want to consistently be plugged in, because we know the value of just like community driven experiences, which is kind of like the whole point of the tech tournament, is to really drive that.
So in Decentraland, what can we expect from Decentraland? What will you be building there for the experiences for Infinity EDU?
So it'd be really cool. I think we're still trying to like ideate in the best like strategy around this, but definitely meetups would be like I think it's definitely an idea, an opportunity for people to just kind of just meet us in the virtual ecosystem, because we get pulled for like podcasts or panels and stuff. So it'd be cool to just do that animated. Definitely, I would love to also connect with people in real life. So definitely, just maybe like more events, speaking, that sort of thing. For now, maybe from some cool interactive games. It's just really crazy to see sort of the potential of what's there. And right now, everyone is sort of in the ecosystem, just kind of hanging out, right, trying to find their footing. It'd be awesome to even see like maybe partner with consumer brands who are building in the metaverse, to see how that they can like sort of give our students maybe swag or things like that. So we're definitely open and we're evolving.
Yeah, this is great. I mean, like I know for certain girls when like in the future, are going to really change the trajectory. It's cool because we are out there right now building it,
Yeah.
but it's like going to be so, and education is so important. And you're just like giving so much education to inspire and for girls to like pursue this actual field, right? And making them feel welcome, like being a part of a cohort like Launch House. I feel like there wasn't much
Mhm.
back in the times when our mothers were
Yeah.
here, right? And it was just unthought of. But then it's like Web3 made everything, it made people connection on a different level. I feel like
Definitely, yeah.
Web2 was not, is like a little boring. Web3 is like very exciting because we're just
Yeah.
here. And it's like when you know someone and you meet someone who knows about the metaverse, NFTs, it's like talk NFT to me because
Yeah.
yeah.
I
And
always joke I'm like a Web3 girly living in a Web2 world. Like I I totally feel that. Yeah, totally. Like I love this decentralized way of community. Again, it's all like when people ask, like they're like, what do you think is a successful NFT project? What do you think is a successful DAO? All it is community. And I just think that like we've lived in a world where like, especially the pandemic, like we were not interacting with each other. We were not building community. We're literally like, quite doing the opposite. And I think that fundamentally like shifted something innately in us is like not only are we trying to connect in real life as in many ways as possible, we're trying to connect digitally in as many ways as possible.
yes.
And
Web
it's really
2, yeah, Web 2 is like no community, it's more audience building.
right.
And I feel like Web 3 is much more community building. I love community building more than I do audience building. So for me, it's like, yes, like I truly value the relationships. And I even tweeted myself and I said, like, I'm going to probably meet some of my best friends through Web 3. And
100%.
yeah, 100%. I mean, because we're in here in the spaces and it's like we're working. And when someone rolls something out or when someone launches something, like we're just clapping and we're just like glad because we know what that is, what you're doing. So like it's an awesome, thing to like stand up and clap for you. Versus like Web 2, it's a little different. It wasn't as much, clapping and people standing up for others and encouraging.
Web 2 is definitely like a one way of communication. You're just kind of talking at your audience. I feel like Web 3 is like you're talking with them or you're amongst them. Because with the whole idea, right, is like to be decentralized, to be autonomous, and to allow voting power, be giving power back into the hand. And this is like the optimistic, like, beautiful, like Web3 vibe in me. I know that there's like a very like dark side to Web3, and I feel like there's a lot of scammers and things like that that just definitely don't represent what power of Web3 is. And specifically in education, like cohort-based learning is a really fascinating concept. I feel like I've just been seeing these trends in the ed tech sector of people finding some different smaller ways of connecting, building community, like using community building as a way to build, like learn. And I feel like the way that you interact with people online is a little no different. Like I learned so much from Twitter, which is like kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Um, because you just follow different people, you have different entry points. And I just a PSA, like if you're a founder, if you're in tech, get on Twitter because I feel like with Instagram, and please correct me if I'm wrong, like I'm so like I love talking about social media and marketing and stuff, but Instagram, it's become more of a marketplace. I feel like that's where the platform is evolving. We saw that they want to, sell NFTs. It's really just becoming a place where people shop. Twitter is just going back to like when Twitter was actually like pure and good.
Yes. I feel the same way. Yeah, conversations and like actually tweeting people who you would never ever like be able to encounter in Web 2. And
We
they
met on
tweeting
Twitter.
back and like starting a conversation and then going to the DMs, the messages, and then leading to something so good. Yeah.
And it's also a great investor strategy too, just of like meeting, just thinking like not only because you can learn about a fund and on their website, but like you really learn the psychology of what their like investors and sort of their culture and their firms like tweet about what they care about. And so that also helps you like decide if you want to, talk to these people or if you don't. And people are so approachable. You would not believe like I feel like there's like they say there's 6 degrees of separation and Twitter there's like one because somebody like within your community, like in the way that the algorithm support like pushes a content is really fascinating. So I think that at least for now, like I'm really keeping my fingers crossed that right now we're in a really good place with like tech Twitter. I don't know what other niches are to how they're doing, what the vibe is there, but and overall, like I just feel like it's such a universally such a great platform. Like we met on Twitter. Like I love that. But yeah, going back to the whole like decentralization like effort around communication and just community building, we were deprived of that, and now this is a massive opportunity for us to really like lean in and just like build community, because like in web 2 it's easier to be fake and inauthentic versus like in web 3 you're yourself, but just like in a pixelated version, and like the art that you mint or like the things that you produce, like it's really about just like your level of participation. I don't think that everyone who's in web 3 needs to like come out with a collection, an NFT collection, or everyone like needs to like do all these big things. Like you can literally just be a participant of the community and just be like someone who uplifts and adds value. You don't necessarily have to like do the big thing. And I hope that people know that message is like to be people always ask me like, how do I get into web 3? It's like join a Discord server, attend some events like here, and like always send them some resources like and just like threads to follow and who to follow. But yeah, like I feel like this is a really cool ecosystem of community we're living in.
Yeah, it definitely is. And when I want to go back to let our listeners understand DAO, that, how is DAO related to Infinity EDU, and why is this important for an education company like Infinity EDU?
Yeah, so this is something we think about a lot. And a DAO is, for those who like are new to the crypto space, is a decentralized autonomous organization. So like think about how a traditional company, they have a CEO, they have a CFO, it's a CTO. And a DAO, like that doesn't really, and correct me if I'm wrong, like that doesn't really exist. Everyone's just kind of on the same like playing field. They have a similar voting power. Depending on how many you buy into the token or the utility or whatever, that's kind of determines like your voting. And so so within 48 hours, she launched community or the women female cohort, we want to put out a NFT project. And so what that has turned into is really this like decentralized way of like building this NFT collection, which I'll get into a little bit later. But to answer your question about the whole educator DAO thing is, for one, we want to right now we're hand selecting 10 to 15 high quality like educators, curriculum builders, see like computer science or like high school teachers, and just like an array of like an educator community for us to start building, like planting the seeds for what the DAO eventually will be. And the DAO is essentially to validate and to like provide the content for the courses that we're building, because we're not a content platform, we're an experience platform and we're a learning platform, versus like some of our competitors or some other people in the ed tech space. Like you go to their site, you learn a specific piece of content, but for us it's like you're learning through the roles and not about the content necessarily. And then so the educators, the more they contribute, or like they get incentivized for the vision is for them to get incentivized for their contributions, whether it's to the token, and we're currently still figuring out some of these details as well. So like whether it's to the token, they get incentivized to the tokens, but they also get incentivized by just contributing to the community and things like that. And then they all have voting power of like, yes, this is actually like this is valuable, or no, that's not. And it's kind of like our peer review of to making sure that the students are actually learning something valuable. But right now we're really focused on building the student community first, educator community as well, and tangential to that. And then it'll evolve as we develop the product into a more decentralized, a more decentralized like ecosystem.
Okay, yes. I mean, that makes perfect sense. I know for some it's going to be a little new information and it is going to take time for others to learn and adapt. But I feel like us who are in this space, we definitely understand what's going on, what you're building, and why it is also like, what is the future? What does the future hold? Because it definitely is the future, and we're all just like rolling it out. We're all just like building it day by day. And it's like, when another company launches something, we're just like, whoa, they just launched it out. Like they just did it. So you want to see what they did and you want to like take notes on everything. So it is really cool. And it is exciting for us who are in here building this and like being a part of this ecosystem, because we're kind of like seeing everything take place at the exact same time. And we're just trying to bring people in here so that they can see what we see and, take them along the journey that we're on as well. And that's the best part about it. And that's great that you're bringing more educators into this space to be
Yes.
on that journey of Web3.
Because
Now,
we believe, sorry, one more thing. We believe that like educators should get fairly compensated for the work that they're doing and the contributions that they're making. And why not put that like with a token or something that actually has utility? And so yeah, that's just something like super important that I wanted to highlight there. But yeah, this is like what I love so much about this space is that like it's a living experiment, but at the same time, it's like these very calculated, very strategic, like, and it really depends on your company and your company goals. Like for us, it's to really just be, the future of tech education, which is, I know, a very broad term, but in the sense of like, we really want to bring together the relationship, like really tighten that relationship between the brands, the audience, the learners, and as well as the educators, and make sure everyone is getting value, whatever that value looks like, and for them.
yes, definitely. And I feel like that's like the way that education should go. And I'm excited to see how, you guys roll this out and what the future is. We'll have to bring you back on and we'll have to talk about like what happened in this fall, and just learn what's new. Because it's always good to continue these conversations and to know like, hey, like, what happened, what's going on, how are you guys doing, because it's good to bring you back on. It'll be good to bring you back on and to learn about the journey that you guys are on and what y'all are building.
Yeah, happy to come back on and maybe have a co-founder as well. It'd be cool.
Yes, definitely. So Tarlon, tell me, where can we find you online on social media? Where can people connect? And also to where can they go to sign up for InfinityEdu?
Yeah, so to sign up for the tournament, visit infinityedu.io. We also have our career finder on there, so definitely go check that out. On Twitter, it's at my first name and my last name, so you'll see it right here. LinkedIn, same vibe. On Instagram, TechieTK. So definitely follow me, check me out when I'm there. Twitter is my favorite platform. And I'm also rebranding on TikTok. So follow me at the Techie Founder. I'll be doing a lot more parody, comedy things about being a founder, raising capital as a woman, things like that. So definitely check me out on all those platforms. And yeah, just join us on our journey at To Infinity EDU on Twitter and all of our platforms. Izzy, who's our Twitter account right now, is just crushing it. So definitely be sure to follow us there.
Awesome, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Tarlon. And guys, thank you so much for tuning in today's episode. As always, peace and love. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.